and welcome to another episode of Atomic Health Podcast. I'm Ashley Harris of Atomic Health Whole Body Wellness. On today's episode, we will be talking about the Metabolic Balance program. To do that, I have special guest Melanie Hesketh joining me today. Melanie is an owner of a busy clinic called Solera Holistic Health in Tecumseh, Ontario. She has been a registered holistic nutritionist for over 14 years and a metabolic balance coach for over 10. Since becoming an RHN in 2009, her main focus areas are weight management, live cell analysis, biofeedback therapy, and stress reduction for emotions, digestion, allergies, pain, and detoxification. She is Windsor, Essex' first certified metabolic balance coach. She works passionately with clients to improve their nutritional and emotional well-being. Her goal is to help educate, inspire, and motivate clients to achieve abundant health. Welcome, Melanie, and thank you so much for being here with me today.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Metabolic Balance is a very unique program, and I feel like a lot of people don't know what it is or what it's about. And so I'm really excited to talk with you about this today. So I just have a couple of questions. So first, can anyone become a metabolic balance coach, and what does one have to do to become certified?
Okay, so no, not just anyone can become a coach. You do have to be in the health and wellness industry, naturopaths, holistic nutritionists. Some fitness coaches may qualify if they have additional training as well, but you do have to have some certification and some health nutrition background before you can become a coach. And there is a whole process of certification that is done through Metabolic Balance. It incorporates, I can't even remember myself, it's been so long as far as like how many hours, but it is all done through Metabolic Balance, and you receive testing and training and support through them. So like for myself, I'm actually a coach. I'm not affiliated with the actual Metabolic Balance company per se. I am a certified coach. So I have a license agreement with them that allows me to use this amazing program.
What is metabolic balance and how was it started?
Great question. And there's so many facets to this program. Like you mentioned, I've been a holistic nutritionist now for over 14 years, and I've been using the program for almost 10 years now. But there's so many facets to it. Basically what it is, it's a program that is designed to optimize your metabolism. And when we talk about metabolism, we're not just talking about weight loss. Okay, metabolism is much more than that. It's your operations within your cells that keep you alive. That's really the basics of what metabolism is. So this program is designed for each individual based on their blood labs, their health history, medications, and their goals. And so what it's designed to do is to balance hormones. We have over 50 hormones in the body, and they're your communication system. So they actually tell the body what to do. Everything has a hormonal function. When you're hungry, there's a hunger hormone. When you're full, there's a full hormone, a satiety hormone. When you fat burn, there's a hormone that makes you store fat, and there's one that helps you to burn fat, right? So everything, when we wake up, that's a hormone. When we go to sleep, that's a hormone. So that's how this is the real root of what metabolic balance is first working on balancing those hormones, and also inflammation and enzymes. And enzymes are like your spark plugs. And it's all done through food. So we actually send our clients to the lab. And of course, we have to have a consultation and make sure that this is a right fit for the individual. But we send our clients to the lab. We get over 37 lab values back. And then that is then sent to the team in Germany, and they use food as a prescription. So it's really, really specific with these foods. It's, it's definitely not just about calorie counting. And maybe we can talk a little bit more about that later, what it is. But it's more about getting the balance of nutrients. If you have an excessive amount of certain nutrients, then they're going to direct you to different foods that have less of those nutrients. And if you have a deficit of certain nutrients, then they're going to direct you to those foods that have those nutrients. And it's so specific. It could be, you should be focusing on red peppers right now and maybe not green peppers. Like, it is that specific. It's not just about, okay, eat this much protein, this much veg, and this much fruit. Like, it's literally times of day for certain foods, quantities, combinations of foods for the individual. So there's a lot of really cool things for each person that could be happening. I know with my plan, when I got my first plan, about 10 years ago now, it didn't advise me to have eggs in the morning. And for me, that makes sense. I've had arthritis since I was 16. So I have more inflammation in my body. And eggs in particular are not great for everyone first thing in the morning. Our digestive system can't break down the arachidonic acid the same way. And so it can actually create more inflammation. Other things too, like maybe having certain foods raw versus certain foods cooked and such. So that's kind of the basics of what it is. I think that answered. I'm not sure I think you had a 2-part question there.
Why was Metabolic Balance started? Like, who started it and what was the reasoning for it?
Yeah. So Dr. Wolf, fun fact, is the founder. And I was really blessed to be one of the last classes. I think it might have actually been the last class that he taught in person here in Canada. Super wonderful man. He passed away, I think, within a year or two after I met him. And anyways, he super wonderful man. He just such a kind-hearted person, and it just, even to this day, like when we get together at our group meetings, there's always talk of Wolf, Dr. Wolf. Fun fact. So he was a German doctor, and he was working with his patients for inflammation. This is a story that I heard that isn't necessarily on the website kind of thing. But what I was told was that he started working with his patients through food for inflammation. And what he started recognizing was that they were easily losing weight when they were following these principles of metabolic balance. So he had a team with him as well of nutritional scientists, and they put together this program. It was in 2001 that they actually released it as an actual program. And I believe in the beginning it was only available to doctors at that time.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. He's such a smart man. I love hearing the stories of him and why he started Metabolic Balance and how it worked with clients. And it's so wonderful to hear about him. So how many countries is Metabolic Balance available in?
I believe it's over 35. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I believe it's over 35 countries, 30 to 35 countries. And what's really unique about that as well is that, again, it's customized to the country. So each country has their own food plans according to what's common in that country. Even that there's a difference between the Canadian plans and the US plans, because in the US, they have access to different fish. They may have access to different types of cheese or more common things like that, different vegetables that might be common in different countries. So it is unique to the country. And that's really nice as well, because you're not going to have a hard time finding the food. It really is a whole food plan, right? It's not about supplements. There's no shakes, no pills, no powders. It's whole foods. And so you want to make sure that they're easily accessible. And they truly are. Like, you're not running to a whole bunch of stores to find things. You're just going to be going to your local grocery store or farmer's market to find what you need.
It makes it so convenient.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so how does metabolic balance work to rebalance our metabolism and hormones? And how is it different from other approaches such as keto, Weight Watchers, etc.? Maybe we could talk a little more about the calories in and out, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I kind of mentioned earlier about how it works. And the key thing that I have found is that it's not about calorie counting, because it's about balancing the root cause of imbalances in the body, right? So when we send our clients for lab work, we're actually not testing a bunch of hormones. And that's where a lot of people get confused, because it's not hormone testing. It does test TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and it tests a lot of other markers. And then the team in Germany, they have formulas to figure out a whole bunch of other things from those numbers. So what we're primarily addressing is nutritional deficiencies. And of course, if you have nutritional deficiencies, your body will not function optimally. Your cells will not activate optimally. So hormone production, enzyme production is going to be deficient. So we've got to start at the root. So that's the first real difference. There is some calorie restriction for those who want to lose weight. We can use metabolic balance for weight loss. And that is, probably about 90% of my clients, 80 to 90% are using it for weight loss, but that's not what it's just for. So there is some calorie restriction, but it's not real low carb. It's about 35 to 40% carbohydrates. And that includes things like breads, crackers, rice, potatoes. So it's not a low carb diet. And it's not keto. Keto is about 70% fat, 20% protein, and 10% carbs. So crazy low, right?
Hmm.
The difference with metabolic balance in compared to, say, keto, as an example, it's designed to be used as a lifestyle. I personally have been still using it for 10 years. There's 8 simple rules to follow. I still follow those rules and I feel great. So I know it's sustainable. I feel the best I've actually ever felt in my entire life, which is amazing. As I mentioned earlier, I've had arthritis since I was 16. I don't suffer from aches and pains anymore. I can do yoga, I can lift weights, I can jump on my rebounder. I feel amazing. When I was 16, I was in physiotherapy. I was debilitated with like knee swelling and, foot pain. And so I had a lot of issues. So it's really proof when you experience it to understand how food can be very effective for well-being. Now, keto, on the other hand, also has its place. It was designed initially to be very therapeutic for things like epileptic seizures, certain cancers, even Parkinson's. Like there is some value to keto, but it was never designed to be used as a lifestyle. Okay. It was never designed to be used as a long-term diet, right? And of course, those ratios of what you're consuming are very off balance when you're following a restrictive keto diet. So there's some very big time differences. Of course, with metabolic balance, you're also having a food prescription. So you're not just aimlessly choosing your foods, you're actually being directed as to what foods are going to be the most beneficial to optimize your well-being. Okay. And then when it comes to Weight Watchers and things like that, that's a lot of calorie restriction. And for many people, it works for weight loss. But there's also a lot of room for insufficiency because it's not giving you the nutrients you need. It's also not addressing hormonal imbalance. And that's where when I have clients coming in to see me, and if they say, I did Weight Watchers before and it worked for me and I lost weight and I did feel good. But I did it again and it's not working anymore. I know that that's my person. I know that that's the person that they're going to get amazing results with metabolic balance because at that point, it's not about calorie deficit. There's something more going on, right?
Yeah, 100%. I know with me, it's been a year since I did my plan and the same thing, like I just feel fantastic. The results are there and I haven't strayed from my plan. My your amounts go up a bit, but it's incredible. It's just amazing, this program. Is metabolic balance for everyone? And who are the best candidates for the program?
It's almost for everyone. Really, there's almost no one it won't benefit. And maybe you've already experienced this too. Yeah. I've had clients who they just wanted to lose 10 pounds. And it was those last 10 pounds they were stuck on. And I've had clients that needed to lose over 100 pounds. So for weight loss, absolutely. But there's so much more to it. Like if a client comes to me or if I've been working with them for years, a really good example actually is this has happened to me where, I've worked with clients for years with their gut health. We've done a lot of supportive work, with nutritional supplements and such. We've done elimination diets, and yet they're still struggling. Mm-hmm. That's when I'll say, okay, maybe we need to lean on metabolic balance because we're kind of just, looking through, a dark closet and grabbing things. We don't really know exactly what your body needs. So there is those situations, but anyone who's looking for less pain and inflammation, better energy, like who doesn't want that, right? Sleep, hot flashes, trying to think. I mean, there's so many things that I've seen, even skin conditions. Those are all wonderful things. And honestly, the number one thing that I hear in my practice is I can't believe how good I feel. So weight loss actually becomes a secondary thing with my clients. I say it repeatedly to clients. I get these organic testimonials like literally on a daily basis where clients come in, we sit down, we catch up, what's happening. And there's these little organic testimonials about how good they're feeling. I wish I had cameras in my office to capture it all the time. And sometimes there's tears, like tears of joy, and it's just phenomenal. So the main things, though, because metabolic balance focuses on insulin, which I didn't even really talk about, the key hormone that it focuses on is insulin. And the reason it focuses on insulin is because that is a hormone, first off, that a lot of people only associate with blood sugar dysregulation or diabetes. Insulin is so much more than that. So insulin, when it is up, and your insulin is going to get turned up or turned on when you eat, even if you drink black coffee and there's no sugar in it, your body is waiting for sugar and will turn insulin on to help direct your glucose. Okay. But what also happens when insulin gets turned on is it will turn up your adrenaline, your cortisol. So hello, stress. Those are all your stress hormones. And they're also going to make you store fat. It's going to turn up cholesterol in the body. It's going to turn up triglycerides in the body. So insulin activates those. But what insulin also does is it prevents you from burning fat. It puts you into fat storage mode and prevents you from burning fat. And so when it's turned on, you'll also have a reduction of some other hormones like your DHEA, which is your mother hormone that builds every other hormone, your human growth hormone, which is for muscle building and fat burning, your melatonin, so you might be sleeping not so well. And so it's just this vicious cycle. And of course, there's also some other kind of domino effects from those hormones being dysregulated. So when we talk about insulin and, the benefits of metabolic balance, then we can also see how it's really, really beneficial for those with PCOS, right? Because with PCOS, it's super important that we regulate insulin. Perimenopausal women or menopausal women, because once we get into that perimenopause, we start to have insulin dysregulation as well. We become insulin resistant. Anyone who's having, of course, diabetes or blood sugar dysregulation, cholesterol, triglyceride issues, fatty liver, like those are all insulin driven. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things. We've even used it to help people with conception, those who are having infertility issues. So the list is just so vast. So that's really who can benefit, which, like I said originally, not too many people that can't benefit from it, right?
So many people. It's pretty amazing. So is there anyone that cannot do metabolic balance?
Mm-hmm. So anyone who's pregnant or breastfeeding, children under the age of 8, those who have kidney failure or significant liver insufficiency or liver diseases. Don't recommend it for vegans. We can do it if you're vegetarian. I have attempted a couple plans with my vegan clients, and they have had some success, but it is really challenging. It's not ideal. What else am I missing? I'm trying to think. Those are, or anyone who's currently undergoing cancer treatments, we won't do it until after. So
to support the body after. Yeah, that makes sense. Can you share a couple of your most memorable transformations with us? Doing this so long, you have, like you were talking about earlier, what are some of your most memorable ones?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, I've had over 1,200 clients go through with me with Metabolic Balance now.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. Lots of good ones. So I'll think of some more recent ones. One recent one would be a client that came in, and she was in tears, actually. And she was in so much pain and such little energy. After her first 2 weeks, her first appointment, she was like, I can't believe this. Like, it's a miracle. She says, my coworkers are wondering if I'm on drugs. She's like, I'm literally like running circles around them. They are like floored. And she's just like, I can't believe, how good I feel. And she was losing weight, yes, at 2 weeks, but that was secondary. That wasn't even, like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't even top of her mind. She's just like, I cannot believe how good I feel. Another really good one is my client who came in to see me just for weight loss. And her mother and her sister, and this is often the case, it's a lot of referrals, right? Yeah. So her mother and her sister come in as clients, and her sister really talked her into doing the program. She's a busy woman. I think she's got like 5 or 6 kids, and, she works crazy hours. literally does not get enough sleep, which is still, we're working to try and remedy that because she's not even getting like 6 hours of sleep a night. With all her kids, she does shift work. So she's got to get up and she's got to sleep for a little bit, go drive them somewhere, go back to sleep, get up again, drive the other ones, then go pick up. It's brutal for this particular person. So anyways, she was just doing it for weight loss. That was her only thing. And she came in and she was another one who was crying. She says she had not had a headache at her 2-week appointment. She had not had one headache or migraine since she started. And she had been having migraines or headaches every day, migraines at least once a week since the age of 12.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And she's 50, is she 54? I want to say she was saying it was over. Yeah. So that would be over 30-ish years, right? 30, 40. Yeah. So she was 54. So it's over 30 something years anyways. She got through her first 3 months, no headaches, no migraines. She had 2 mild, sort of almost come on headaches, but never really got there. And in her first 3 months, she lost 40 pounds.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
I just think, like, what a blessing, because here's this woman who is so busy taking care of everybody else.
Yeah.
And she deserves to feel well, right?
Yeah.
And that's exactly, her thing was like, even if I don't lose any more weight, she only had 5 more pounds to lose. And she said, even if I don't lose any more weight, that, this has been worth it, just without having the headaches and the better energy and mental clarity. So that would definitely be one of my favorite stories. There's so many, like my clients with psoriasis where it, diminishes or completely goes away. Food sensitivities. That's such a situation. Yeah. Right. Like, how many of your clients are suffering with so many food sensitivities?
Yeah. Food sensitivities is near and dear to my heart because, I have a son who was born with food sensitivities and we could not figure out what was going on. And then when we changed his diet, no more rashes, no more immune response, no more colds. Like, people don't realize how powerful food really is. And when you change the diet, what your body can do, it's magical.
Yeah. And that's where, a lot of people don't understand, right? Like, food isn't necessarily the culprit. There's other things going on in the gut. And I mean, you can keep eliminating food, but if you're not fixing the underlying cause, you're just band-aiding it just by eliminating that food. And so that's where it's really wild. Like with metabolic balance, it's not testing food sensitivities. It's not checking your blood typing. And, some clients will come in and they'll say, I really think I'm like gluten intolerant. And my thing with that is it gluten or is it wheat? Is it wheat that's sprayed with glyphosate? You know what I mean? Like, there's a big difference there.
Yeah. And that's the hard thing. And I think that's a whole other amazing topic that, I've been listening a lot about glyphosate and the spray on our grains and how it really affects what happens to us when we ingest it. And so I guess that would be, so when we're doing metabolic balance, why rye bread? Why is that what is recommended?
Yeah. So rye bread is not altered like wheat, right? So generations ago, they altered wheat to have a higher yield and such. And this is also where the sprays come into play and such. Rye has never been altered. It is the same grain as it was generations ago. It's lower on the glycemic index, lower on the glycemic load, which is really important because metabolic balance follows the glycemic load, not the glycemic index. And so it's also easier to digest. Of course, they recommend primarily that we consume the fermented sourdough rye, right? So when it's sourdough, there's little to no gluten left. So it's easier on the digestive system, feeds our good bacteria. So there's so many other benefits to rye. But it's amazing, like these clients who are coming in and they suspect they're gluten intolerant. And I just always say, you know what? Let's just start with the plan as is. let's see if you can tolerate rye, and we'll go from there. Because sometimes it's not the gluten. Sometimes it is also just other foods that are creating an inflammatory response, where there's not enough gut microbiome or enzyme activity. And so they're also eating too many carbohydrates, which are just creating, a muck of gases and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I had one client actually that was really funny. She couldn't eat papaya. Like, she was actually forbidden to eat papaya from her family.
Okay.
Because she was so gaseous with it. And it was like, I guess, the nastiest smell.
This is so funny. It's kind of what dairy does to some people too.
Right.
Papaya that's so funny because papaya is it's full of enzymes.
Yeah. So we kept it, and she ended up getting it on her plan. And I said, don't eat it for the first month, and then let's try it out. And she came in one day. She's like, I can eat it.
That's
I
so
have no issues.
Because the body shifted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so funny, hey? Like, those stories are the best.
Yeah, there's so many of them. So many other food intolerances that people think they have. But then again, if things are corrected, you may be able to tolerate them again. And sometimes not. And that's okay too. And then we figure out, okay, what's truly an intolerance versus what is just a digestive issue.
100%. And then from there, like, we have the ability to go in and do things a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps a lot too. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us today of, maybe something we didn't touch on with metabolic balance that might be helpful to people? Or
I think one thing would be how many clients just talk to me about, how they wish they would have started the program sooner. Mm-hmm. Another, kind of client experience of mine was this client. We had worked together for about 7 years. And she wanted some weight loss, and very, very health conscious individual, very aware, very well educated, and self-educated with holistic nutrition and things like that. And so for about 7 years, I'm going to say, I'm thinking it's about 7 years we've been working together. And, I'd kind of just mention, maybe you should think about metabolic balance. Maybe you should think about it. And she just never kind of grabbed at it. And, I talked to her a little bit about it here and there over the years. And then finally last year, I just literally turned to her, because she's still battling the same weight, right? Like, she'd lose 10, gain it back, lose 10, gain it back. So I just said, I'm curious, like, what's holding you back from metabolic balance? And she's like, I don't know. I just don't think I can follow it. I'm like, really? I'm like, you of all people? Like, this client, like, again, like, so self-educated, very holistic in nature. Like, she was like on top of her game, but was not getting the results she wanted. She had like severe arthritis. She had low energy, and then this weight that she just couldn't slip off. Not only that, she suffered from a lot of retention in her legs. So she had a lot of like swelling in her ankles and all the way down. Mm-hmm. And so funny story is that, so we talked about it, and I just gently said, maybe, go watch my video again, and just give it some real good thought. Cause I don't think you're going to have any problems with it. So she ends up starting the program. And after the first 2 weeks, she's like, I can't believe I didn't do this sooner. Like, why didn't you press me harder? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, Melanie, this is so easy. I'm like, I know. And not only that, she was told she would never lose weight because she had so much edema in her legs. She was told she would never lose her leg weight. They were going down, because we actually started measuring her whole leg, and she started to lose, of course, that excess fluid. Now, she'll never have, normal shaped legs, but the edema was going down, which she was thrilled about as well. So yeah, just those kind of things I think are worth mentioning, that it's such a simple program to follow, because I think also because we have the science to back it up. We have that food prescription. And when you're not having to make a million decisions around your food, like which apples do I choose, or which grapes do I choose, or which, cut of protein do I choose, it really simplifies, and it makes it so easy to follow. And with metabolic balance, you can prepare your food any way you want. If you want to make a soup, if you want to do a stir fry, if you want to make a vegetarian lasagna with different like layers using different things, you can do that, right? Not necessarily with like wheat noodles, but you could do like lasagna with zucchini mousse. Like, you have so much flexibility. So I think a lot of people expect it to be more difficult because of the results that our clients get.
Yeah.
But it really isn't. And I think, again, like, I'm able to still follow, there's 8 simple rules. If that isn't proof enough that it's lifestyle, and some of my clients that have been with me like this whole time as well, if that's not proof enough, I have clients that check in with me every few months just to do body composition, and they've stayed within their 5 pounds of weight loss. And I've been seeing them, one of them I'm thinking of, I've been seeing him for 8 years just for check-ins periodically. He lost 60 or 70 pounds. I'm trying to remember his exact number. And other clients that have lost, even more than that over the years, have been able to keep it off. But it's so much more than that. As we talk, it's not about the weight loss, but the ability to use it as lifestyle, and to know that you can still go out and, eat with your friends and have fun. And we encourage that, right? Like, it's not good to be restrictive. And that's my whole thing is, with the 4 phases of metabolic balance, right? Like, you're meant to have enjoyable meals. You're meant to have, treat meals. And I think that's so important.
It's not all or nothing. And I think that's a lot of the different diets in the society that we live in. We're so used to that yo-yo effect. It's like, you can't have this. You have to do it this way. It's like the pendulum is so far one side, but that's not how it should be. And it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah. And do you find that, like, I find that with my clients, that's a huge part of my coaching is like learning how to be from one end to the other to actually go more central. Because if you're on this end and you are so restrictive, you are dieting, you're having lots of negative self-talk, food is bad, food is good, I'm bad, I'm on, I'm off, right? That doesn't work. That does not work. And then if you're over here and you're just completely off and you're like, oh, screw it, that doesn't work either. You have to really do the mindset work. And this is where coaching is so important, right? Clients sometimes look at me like I've got 3 eyes when I'm like, you haven't had a treat meal in how long? I'm like, you need to go have a treat meal.
Yeah.
Not only for your mental well-being, but also to stimulate your metabolism and give it something more to work about, right?
Yeah. I think that's what I found even, I think that's one of the things actually, even with me, is that we get so set in a certain mindset. And so that switching that to be in the middle, that, like, even me, when I first started, we went to school for nutrition. We learned all about nutrition, the body systems, how it works, etc. And that is conflicting even in its own, like the whole, nutrition field. But when I started Metabolic Balance, that was the one thing I had to work on. It was getting out of my own way of my normal everyday routines of doing things a certain way. And then once I was able to do that, everything just flowed so effortlessly. And that's what I find with clients, is that it's the mindset. But it's amazing. Mm-hmm. You can see the shift in people once you work on that mindset and how the light bulb goes off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm so grateful that you were here with me today talking about this. I was so excited. I'm very appreciative.
Oh, my pleasure, Ashley. We have such a gift to share. Like, this program is just phenomenal. And so I'm always happy to share it with others. And, it's always great to connect with other coaches too, so we can share our experiences. And, and there are groups that we have for our coach groups. It's amazing how we all support one another.
100%, and learn from each other. You've been one of my biggest inspirations. I love learning from you. So I appreciate this very much, Lee.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.